Back at Fort Morgan High School, where the Fort Morgan Mustang girls are taking on the Sterling Tigers. We're just now getting the introductions to the players for Sterling. The starting lineup for them is Alex Masters, a 5'10 junior. Mackenzie Chrisman, a 6'2 sophomore. Tyler Chrisman, a 6' senior. Kelsey Schaefer, a 5'6 senior. And Jenna Knutson is a 5'7 freshman. And for Fort Morgan, we have Danielle Gross, a 5'5 senior. We have Allie Schneider, a 5'10 senior. We have Alexis Bills, who is a 5'9 senior. Lauren Staley, who is a 5'6 sophomore. And we're getting ready for the tip-off. The opening tip is brought to you by Ingmeyer Phillips Insurance with 2 locations in Brush and Fort Morgan. Ingmeyer Phillips can help you with your home, car, health, or life insurance questions or needs. So Fort Morgan with the tip. Down in the corner, now back out to Allie Schneider with her shot up and missed. And a rebound to Sterling. Down to Jenna Knutson. Now underneath to Alex Masters, and up and good for the 2 points for Masters. So Fort Morgan getting the ball up past half court with some pressure from the Tigers. Now back out on the right side to Samantha Pettyjohn. Now to Gross. Gross at the top of the key. Over to Pettyjohn, over right to Allie Schneider. And she puts it underneath to Lauren Staley, who puts it up and good for the 2 points. So that makes it 2-2 with 6:50 to go in the first period. So you have a shot by Sterling and a foul on Pettyjohn. That is her first of the game. He's shooting 2 shots. B&B Appliance at 502 Ensign in Fort Morgan can help you save water, energy, and the environment without sacrificing quality and performance. Change for the better with B&B Appliance. First shot for Masters is no good. Second shot is up and good. So that makes it 3-2 for Sterling. So Allie Schneider bringing the ball up court with a little bit of pressure. She loses it to Sterling. Pass underneath to Sterling. And a shot up, but is no good. She traveled before the shot. So the ball will be turned over to Fort Morgan. So the ball into Danielle Gross. Gross into the lane, and then the shot is up and blocked. The shot was by Alexis Bills. Rebound to Sterling. Out at the top. Back to Jenna Knutson. Now on the right side, a 3 for Kelsey Schaefer. So that makes it 6-2 Sterling with 5:50 to go in the first period. Mustangs having it there into the court. Pass to Allie Schneider for a 3, and that was no good. Rebounded to Mackenzie Chrisman, and then she gets it into the hands of Kelsey Schaefer, who brings it up court and into the corner to Mackenzie Chrisman. Then a foul on a 3-point attempt by Fort Morgan. So the foul was on was on Danielle Gross. That is her first. So that shot was good. So that makes it 7-2 for Sterling. And she will get 3 shots here. Second one is also good. So 8-2 for Sterling. Fort Morgan finding themselves behind early in the game. Need to pick up their shots. And that one is also good. So that's 6 points so far for Schaefer. For Sterling, we have a substitution. Patton is in. Marin Patton is into the game. We have a steal in the back court. Sterling with a shot from the 3-point circle, and that is no good. Allie Schneider with the rebound, and she takes it up court strong. She passes it underneath to Danielle Gross, then back to Schneider, out to Pettyjohn, then Alexis Bills, and her shot is up and no good. Lauren Staley with a rebound, and then that ball is thrown away, so another turnover for Fort Morgan. So Patton for Sterling, and then a shot up and good for Chrisman. We have a foul. We have a timeout on the play. Fort Morgan has called a 30-second timeout. So T.O. Charlie's located at 700 West Platte Avenue in Fort Morgan will not be beat by anyone when it comes to price. They'll help you find a car that fits your needs and budget. If you don't see what you want, T.O. Charlie's will find it for you. Log on to TOCharliesFortFTM.com to view inventory, current specials, and apply for a loan online. Drive away with confidence at T.O. Charlie's. Valley View Villa. Look to the team at Valley View for rehab, short-term, or long-term care needs. Stop by 815 Fremont or call them today, 867-8261. So the ball belongs to Fort Morgan. The pressure by the Tigers. Allie Schneider taking up cross half court and dribbling right down the lane, and then she passes it off to Lauren Staley. Then out to Alexis Bills, and that ball is stolen. Jenna Knutson has it. And she passes it off, and then she gets it back, and her runner down the lane is off the rim and no good. But the rebound is by Sterling and off the hands of the Sterling Tigers. So the ball goes back to Fort Morgan. 11-2 Sterling with 3:57 to go in the first period. Allie Schneider to inbounds the ball, and it is thrown away in the backcourt. So Sterling with the ball. So Jenna Knutson with it. Over to Patton. Back to Knutson. Then the ball is taken away by Allie Schneider, who is tripped up, but no foul is called there. So Danielle Gross now has the ball out top, trying to slow the pace down here a little bit. Then into the corner to Alexis Bills. Back out to Gross. And a shot up by Samantha Pettyjohn. And that ball is blocked and goes out of bounds. So it will continue to be Fort Morgan's ball. So we have a substitution for Fort Morgan. Sierra Ruppel is in for Allie Schneider. So Schneider comes out of the game with no points so far. Looking to get the ball in. Danielle Gross dribbling around the top. Now the ball into Alexis Bills in the corner. And that is a two-pointer for Alexis Bills. So Sterling driving down the lane. Shot up and no good. And fought for by Sterling and Fort Morgan. They've called a foul on the play. And they've called it on Chrisman, so that is her first. Also the team's first foul. So far, 2 team fouls for Fort Morgan, 1 for Sterling. So Samantha Pettyjohn brings it up court. Back out to Danielle Gross. And then Alexis Bills tries a long 3, but that's off the back of the rim and then knocked out of bounds by Chrisman for Sterling. So the ball is still in Fort Morgan's possession with 2:41 to go in the first period. Looking to get the ball into Alexis Bills. And now into Lauren Staley, and her shot is blocked and taken by Sterling. So Sterling is dominating the boards in this game right now. So Jenna Knutson, then a lob inside, and a shot is blocked. And then the rebound by Alex Masters. But they called a foul on Sterling. No, they called it on Fort Morgan. And that foul, not sure who that was. I didn't catch the number. So Sterling has the ball. Sterling out at the top, looking to pass the ball. Now to Chrisman. Chrisman underneath to Masters, who has called for the travel. Now we have some more substitutions for Fort Morgan. Celia Smits is in. And Allie Schneider has come back into the game. So Allie Schneider taking the ball up court, and she dribbles it clear down the court, and they're going to call an offensive foul on Allie Schneider. She just went right down the lane and bowled the girl right over. So they're going to be a turnover to Sterling, 11-4 in favor of the Tigers, who is trying to bring the ball up court. Some pressure now by Samantha Pettyjohn. Now Sterling just holding it out front. Alex Masters with it at the top of the key. Back to Kelsey Schaefer. Holding it. Now Mackenzie Chrisman. Then tried to lob it in underneath, but it was knocked away by Fort Morgan. So the ball goes back to Sterling. Sterling has a substitution. Tyler Chrisman comes into the game. She's looking to get the ball in. She gets the ball into Mackenzie Chrisman, and then she lobs a pass over the basket, and that pass is taken by Fort Morgan, and then Fort Morgan turns it back over to Sterling. So it's kind of a hectic pace at the moment. Sterling trying to slow it down a little bit now. Jenna Knutson over on the right wing. Back up to Mackenzie Chrisman, just to the right of the key, and her shot is up and no good. So rebounded back to Sterling. So we're under a minute to play in the first quarter. Jenna Knutson at the top of the key. Now off to Tyler Chrisman, and her shot is no good. And that ball is rebounded by Sierra Ruppel. Sierra Ruppel gets it to Allie Schneider, who takes it down court. She's at the free throw line. Her shot is up and good for Allie Schneider for her first 2 points of the game. So that makes it 11-6. Sterling with 25 seconds to go in the period. And Sterling just threw the ball away. So with 23.3 seconds to go in the first period, Fort Morgan gets the ball back to try for a last shot here. Probably run it down and get a last shot with 23 seconds. So now Lauren Staley takes the ball up court, and then they throw it away. She loses control, and it goes out of bounds back to Sterling. So 15.8 seconds to go in the first period, 11-6 Sterling. Sterling bringing the ball in, bringing it up court, have some pressure by Fort Morgan. And Jenna Knutson now back over to Kelsey Schaefer. Now we have a foul called with 1.7 seconds to go. And that foul was called on Allie Schneider. So it'll be her second foul. So team fouls are at 5 for Fort Morgan and 1 for Sterling. So at the line for Sterling, shooting 2, and the first one is good, and it looks like it is Mackenzie Chrisman. And her second one is also good. So Sterling has a substitution. Patton comes into the game with 1.7 seconds to go in the period, 13-6 Sterling. So Fort Morgan to get the ball in, and then it's thrown away on the inbounds play, and a shot taken, but no good. So at the end of the first period, it's 13-6 Sterling. You're listening to Fort Morgan Mustangs basketball on B106 and B106.com. Back at Fort Morgan High School, Sterling leading 13-6. So in that first period, the Mustangs we have down as unofficially 10 turnovers, and Sterling has 4. The rebounds are even now at 7 apiece. So Fort Morgan just needs to work that ball in and get some shots taken here. So 13-6. And the ball goes back to Fort Morgan. No, it's going to be Sterling ball on the side. So brought in to Jenna Knutson, and then off to Alex Masters. Back to Knutson. Knutson driving in and then passes it off, and that shot is up and good by Alex Masters for a 2-pointer. So that makes it 15-6. Sterling with a 9-point lead. Fort Morgan pass out front, and then there's going to be a foul called on Sterling. Going to be number 2, be Patton for her first foul of the game. So that's only the second team foul on Sterling. So Danielle Gross looking to get the ball in. She passes it out deep to Allie Schneider. Allie Schneider drives into the key, and her shot is off the rim and no good. And then Danielle Gross gets the rebound, but her shot is blocked. Now Sterling with the ball. Tyler Crispin bringing it up court. Crispin to Jenna Knutson. Then back out for a 3-pointer by Tyler Crispin. So that makes it 18-6 Sterling. Fort Morgan needs to work the ball in and get some good shots here. They're turning the ball over way too much here to be in this game tonight. So Allie Schneider out at the top. Now back over to Danielle Gross. Back out to Schneider for a 3, and that is no good off the side of the rim. And that is rebounded by Tyler Crispin. Brought up court by Jenna Knutson. Knutson back to Crispin. Then back out to Mackenzie Crispin. Crispin to Marin Patton, who's holding it out top. Then she drives down the lane, and foul is going to be called on Fort Morgan. And that's going to be the third foul on Allie Schneider, so she'll probably come out and sit for the rest of the first half. So we have a substitution. Allie Schneider will come out, and Lauren Staley back into the game. We also have Celia Smits is out, and Samantha Pettyjohn is back into the game for the Mustangs. So Sterling inbounds the ball. Shot is up and no good. Ball is rebounded by Lauren Staley. Staley up court. Now to Danielle Gross. Now the ball is turned over off of the hands of Samantha Pettyjohn. So Sterling brings the ball down court very quickly. Cross court pass to Tyler Chrisman. Now we're going to have a foul called on the shot by Staley, and that is going to be her first. So that is, they're going to call that on the shot. So she is going to the line for two, and that would be Masters. Her first shot is up and no good. So substitution for Sterling. Kelsey Schaefer is now into the ball game. So the second shot for Masters is up and no good off the front of the rim. And rebounded to Fort Morgan. So Alexis Bills brings the ball up court to Danielle Gross. Back to Pettyjohn. And then out to Alexis Bills. Back to Gross. And then Sierra Ruppel. And then it's back to Pettyjohn working the ball around. And Fort Morgan is going to be called for a travel. So with 5:16 to go in the second period, 18-6 Sterling. So Sterling with the ball. Bringing it up court. Good pressure by Danielle Gross. So the ball is in the hands of Tyler Chrisman. Now underneath to Alex Masters, and her shot rims out. Now a rebound to Fort Morgan. And on the rebound, there's going to be a foul on Sterling. And that foul is going to be on Tyler Chrisman. That's going to be her first. Only 3 team fouls on Sterling so far. 7 against Fort Morgan. So Fort Morgan getting the ball inbounds to Danielle Gross. Gross back to Bills. Bills trying to bring the ball up court. And she gets it back to Gross. Gross gets past the half court line to Alexis Bills. Then underneath and then thrown away by Fort Morgan. So another turnover by the Mustangs. 18-6 Sterling with 4:43 to go in the second period. So Sterling bring the ball up court off to Tyler Chrisman. Chrisman is a 6-foot senior. Now back out to Kelsey Schaefer. And then a long three by Chrisman, and that's no good off the back of the rim. Fort Morgan with the rebound to Alexis Bills. Alexis Bills now bringing the ball up court. Over to Samantha Pettyjohn. And a three on the left side is good for Alexis Bills. So that makes it 18-9 Fort Morgan. 7 points for Alexis Bills in the game so far. So Sterling passing the ball around. Now a shot up and no good by Meyer. And Sterling gets the ball back. Now a 3-point for Sterling, in and out. Rebound to Sterling, and that shot is up and no good. And then Fort Morgan cannot control the rebound, and it goes out of bounds to Sterling. So now Smits comes into the game for Ruppel. So Sterling inbounding it on the far side. Up top to Kelsey Schaefer. Kelsey Schaefer holding it out high. Now back over to Knutson, back over to Schaefer. Passing the ball around, looking for a shot. Back over to Kendall Meyer. Her shot is up and good for a 2-pointer. So that makes it 20-9 Sterling. And we have a foul on Sterling. That'll be on number 32, Schaefer. That's only the 4th team foul on Sterling. So it'll just be out of bounds ball for Fort Morgan. So Lauren Staley to inbounds the ball for Fort Morgan. And she now has it and gets it in to Danielle Gross. Gross holds it out top. Then she passes it to Samantha Pettyjohn. Then her pass is stolen, taken by Sterling. Jenna Knutson brings it up court. Back over to Kelsey Schaefer. Schaefer to Meyer. Meyer underneath to Maggie Adney, and her shot is up and blocked. So Samantha Scott is into the game for Samantha Pettyjohn. So ball in. Quick shot up by Maggie Adney and another block for Fort Morgan. So 2:44 to go in the half. 20-9 Sterling. Sterling inbounds the ball. Inbounds it to into Crispin. Her shot is up and no good. But the Tigers rebound the ball, and another shot up by Sterling. Fort Morgan is not getting to the ball at all. They're being out-rebounded quite a bit here in the second period. So Sterling passing the ball around, trying to look it inside to some of their taller people. Now a shot up and no good off the front of the rim by Knutson. And now Fort Morgan has the ball. Lauren Staley brings it up court. She hands it off to Danielle Gross with 2 minutes to go in the second period. Samantha Scott has it. And she's holding it out at the left corner. Now back to Danielle Gross. Now into the corner to Alexis Bills. Alexis Bills back to Samantha Scott. And that ball is taken away from Scott by Jenna Knutson. So Sterling with the ball again, driving down the lane. Layup is no good by Jenna Knutson. Fort Morgan with the rebound. Alexis Bills with the rebound and taking it down court. Lauren Staley now in the corner, and she drives into the lane where her shot is up and no good, but she was fouled on the play. And she was fouled by number 35, I believe is what they said. Which I have no number for 35, so I'm not sure who that is on. Lauren Staley to the line to shoot two. Her first one is no good. 20-9. Sterling with 1:21 to go in the first half. Mackenzie Crispin back into the game for Sterling. So Lauren Staley with her second shot up, and that one rolls around, and that one is good for Staley. So Sterling Tigers bring the ball up court, up 20-10 with 1:10 to go in the first half. Looking to get the ball underneath to Mackenzie Crispin, who's a 6'2 sophomore, trying to work it inside. She's being guarded closely by Lauren Staley, but the pass inside is overthrown, and Fort Morgan comes away with the ball. Alexis Bills takes it up court, and trying to get the ball underneath is thrown away. Now Jenna Knutson bringing the ball up court with 44 seconds to go in the first half. 20-10 Sterling. Sterling looking to slow it down here a little bit. Now out to Jenna Knutson. Back over to Patton. Patton to Masters. Then Masters to Kelsey Schaefer. So 25 seconds to go. Just working the ball around. Mackenzie Crispin. We have a travel violation on Sterling with 22.1 seconds to go in the first half. 20-10 Sterling. So Fort Morgan to bring the ball in. Samantha Pettyjohn bring the ball up court. She's being guarded closely by Sterling. Now a shot up and no good by Alexis Bills. Fort Morgan gets the ball back. Celia Smiths gets it, puts her shot up, but it is missed. And she is fouled on the play. I believe that was by Meyer, number 34. So she'll go to the line to shoot two. Her first shot is up and no good. Ackley Building Center, your one-stop center for projects around your home, office, or yard, and they now carry appliances. Ackley Building Center located at 1402 Mill Street in Brush. Her second shot is up and also no good. So the rebound down to Fort Morgan, but they didn't. The ball went out of bounds and the clock kept running. So I think they're going to put a little time back on the clock. We have a substitution for Sterling. Tyler Chrisman is into the game for Sterling. So they have 1.4 seconds to go in the first half. 20-10 Sterling. I don't know if they're trying to. I think they're trying to put some time back on the clock, I believe. Buildings by Design. Brush takes pride in their workmanship and quality of their relationships with clients. For a free bid, call Pat Walter at 842-5837. Building today's business, Buildings by Design. So now we have 3 seconds back on the clock. Fort Morgan trying to get the ball in. So the ball is going to be knocked out of, thought it was knocked out of bounds, but it was saved back in. So no shot was taken by Fort Morgan. So at the end of the first half, 20-10 Sterling. You're listening to Fort Morgan Mustangs ladies basketball on B106 and B106.com. Back at Fort Morgan High School, Sterling leading Fort Morgan 20-10. Fort Morgan being outshot at the free throw line. Sterling was 7 of 10 from the free throw line. Fort Morgan only going to the line for 4 and only making 1. So Fort Morgan needs to try to take it inside and try and get some fouls on Sterling, try to get to the line a little bit more. And as far as we've gone over the turnovers, way too many turnovers for the Mustangs, 18 compared to 6 for Sterling. So Fort Morgan needs to try to take care of the ball a little bit better here in the second half. They want to try and be in this game. So we'll go back with the starting lineups that we had before. Looks like it'll be Danielle Gross, Allie Schneider, Samantha Pettyjohn, Lauren Staley, and Alexis Bills. And for Sterling, it'll be their original starters also. That'll be Masters, the two Chrisman girls, Schaefer and Knutson. Ball goes over to Fort Morgan to start the third period. Picked up, Samantha Pettyjohn picked up her dribble. Now it's over to Danielle Gross. Danielle Gross double dribbles the ball. So the ball will go back over to Sterling. So not the way Fort Morgan wanted to start out the second half. So Jenna Knutson seems to be the general here. She seems to run the show here, getting the ball down court. And she gets it out to Kelsey Schaefer. Now Schaefer into the corner to Alex Masters. Masters with it in the corner. Now back to Jenna Knutson. Knutson throws the ball underneath. But we have a jump ball called, and it will stay with Sterling. So Tyler Chrisman to inbounds the ball for Sterling, trying to get it in, and she gets it into Mackenzie Chrisman. Chrisman up with a shot and no good. Rebounded to Alex Masters. Her shot is no good. Then brought back down, rebounded by Fort Morgan. And now a nice shot there by Alexis Bills for Fort Morgan, a two-pointer, 20-12 Sterling. So Sterling now in their front court, holding the ball. Now to the top to Kelsey Schaefer. Schaefer back to Tyler Chrisman. Chrisman way out at the top. Now her pass to Mackenzie Chrisman. Chrisman to Alex Masters. Masters holding it out top, and then it's poked away from her. And now to Jenna Knutson. She has picked up her dribble. Now off to Kelsey Schaefer, who's being guarded by Danielle Gross. And now back out to number 23, Mackenzie Chrisman. Her shot is up and no good. And rebounded to Fort Morgan by Samantha Pettijohn. But Sterling will be called for a foul, and that will go against Jenna Knutson. That will be her second foul of the game. So we have a 30-second timeout called by Sterling. So this Fort Morgan Platte Valley Hearing Center. You don't have to travel out of town to receive the best and most advanced hearing health care. Visit Platte Valley Hearing Center located at 409 East Platte Avenue in Fort Morgan. Stubbs Gas and Oil. Stubbs Gas and Oil is located at I-76 and Highway 39 in Wiggins. Don't delay and get there today to see why convenience is Stubbs' middle name. Morgan Federal Bank, keeping community banking simple and committed to their community. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. So now the ball belongs to Fort Morgan. Inbounded to Pettijohn. Pettijohn to Danielle Gross. Gross out on the high wing, out on the left side. Now cross-court pass to Allie Schneider. Her pass underneath is stolen by Tyler Chrisman. Now Fort Morgan steals it back in their backcourt, and then it was stripped from Samantha Pettijohn, but it will go back to Fort Morgan. It was last touched by Sterling. So Allie Schneider inbounds the ball to Samantha Pettijohn. Pettijohn to Danielle Gross. Gross out high. Her pass to Allie Schneider. Allie Schneider's shot is up and no good. Rebounded to Tyler Chrisman. Chrisman to Jenna Knutson. Jenna Knutson brings the ball up court. Now Alex Masters to Tyler Chrisman. And now the ball is thrown inside and stolen by Fort Morgan. Lauren Staley down the lane. Her shot is up and no good, and she is fouled. And she is fouled by Tyler Chrisman. That is her second. So Lauren Staley will go to the line for two. So her first shot up and is good for Lauren Staley. She had one free throw in the first half for 1 point. Now she has a second one. This shot is off the back of the rim and no good. And then rebounded, and a jump ball is called, so that will be Fort Morgan's possession. So Pettijohn inbounds the ball. She looks and looks, and now the shot up and no good by Bills. And Lauren Staley gets it in the corner, and now Danielle Gross up, and that shot is off the back of the rim. So Fort Morgan can't buy a bucket right now. Now they're being pressured in the back court, and the ball is knocked out of bounds. They say it's last touched by Fort Morgan. Fort Morgan with a full court press. So Lauren Staley presses, but they do get the ball in and up across half court. So Maren Patton, now she hands it off to Jenna Knutson. Knutson over to Mackenzie Chrisman. They have a foul called on the Mustangs, and it's going to be on Lauren Staley. So that will be her second. Team first. 2 on Sterling. Ball into Sterling, and the shot is up and good by Mackenzie Chrisman. So the ball is Allie Schneider bringing the ball up court, and then it is knocked away by Jenna Knutson. So the ball goes back to Fort Morgan. So Samantha Pettijohn looking to get the ball from the ref. Now she has it. Fort Morgan trying to set it up, and it's into Allie Schneider. She goes up for the shot underneath, but she is clobbered under there. And I'm not sure, I didn't catch who that was. Chrisman. The foul was on Mackenzie Chrisman. So that is her second. So Allie Schneider to the line for two. Her first shot is up and no good. So Fort Morgan not helping themselves any here at the free throw line. They have 3 team fouls on Sterling, only 1 against Fort Morgan. Second shot by Snyder is up, and that one is good. So that's only 3 points so far for Allie Schneider. Sterling brings the ball up court and puts a shot up, and no good, but they do get the rebound. Jenna Knutson underneath, and she puts it in for 2. So that is her first shot, her first 2 points of the game. And then Sterling steals it, but then is immediately called for a travel. So the ball goes back to Fort Morgan. Sterling was a little bit of backcourt pressure. So Samantha Pettyjohn trying to get the ball up court, and she does. And then she is stripped of the ball, and Patton takes it down court, and she is cut off. And then she passes it back out to Jenna Knutson. Her shot is up and no good. And the rebound was to Sterling, but was not controlled. So it goes out of bounds to Fort Morgan. So Allie Schneider is taking a seat at the moment. And I believe it is Sierra Ruppel into the game for the Mustangs. Now she has the ball out on the right wing, and her pass is taken by Samantha Pettyjohn. Nice job by Pettyjohn to keep that ball alive. Had a shot there, but no good. Rebounded to Pettyjohn for Fort Morgan. And now Danielle Gross trying to slow it down a little bit out high. Back to Pettyjohn. Over to Lauren Staley on the right side. And now shot up and no good by Pettyjohn. Pettyjohn gets her own rebound and puts it in for 2. So that is her first 2 points of the game. Sterling now takes the ball down court and puts it up, and it is a shot up and good by Alex Masters. So the score is now 26-16. Sterling with 2:36 to go in the third period. Fort Morgan was just called for carrying the ball. So another turnover to Sterling. So now it'll be Sterling ball underneath their basket. So the ball lobbed into Jenna Knutson. She has the ball back out on top. Now back over on the right side, back to the middle for Mackenzie Chrisman. And we have a foul called on Sierra Ruppel, I believe. Yes, we do. So that is her first foul of the game. So Allie Schneider back into the game, replacing Lauren Staley. So Sterling with the ball inbounds. Underneath, but it was stolen underneath by Alexis Bills. And now Allie Schneider is called for a carry. So that'll be another turnover for Fort Morgan. Another empty possession, not getting any shots off here. So far in this half, they have 6 turnovers. So Sterling with the ball. Out to Maggie Adney. And now over on the left side, out to Mackenzie Chrisman. Chrisman to Jenna Knutson. Knutson out top. And now to Tyler Chrisman for a 3. She drains that from long distance for Chrisman. So that makes it 29-16. Sterling. Now Allie Schneider bringing the ball up court. She is being pushed and finally called on the foul for Sterling is Mackenzie Chrisman. So that'll be her third. Only the third team foul, so no shots for Fort Morgan. So Sterling with a couple of substitutions. Schaefer into the game. And also Adney, I believe, is back in. So Allie Schneider out to Danielle Gross. Gross to Pettyjohn. Pettyjohn into Lauren Staley. Back out to Schneider. Schneider with a spin move up and no good. Now we have a jump ball. And that will go back to Sterling. So Fort Morgan now to put on a little bit of a press. So Pettyjohn pressures a little bit. Then Sterling has a turnover in the backcourt by Alexis Bills. Now the ball, they call a jump ball out in the corner. So the possession arrow goes back to Fort Morgan. So 29-16 with 58.5 seconds to go in the third period. Fort Morgan looking to get the ball in, and that inbounds pass is stolen by Tyler Chrisman, 6-foot senior for Sterling. Now Jenna Knutson with the ball. She's slowing it down, keeping the dribble alive. Now she gets it over to Tyler Chrisman, and Chrisman back to Kelsey Schaefer. Schaefer out top. And they've called a foul on Sterling, and that foul is on Adney. That is her first. Fifth team foul for Sterling, only 2 for Fort Morgan. So Fort Morgan ball under Sterling's basket. Now gets the ball in. Pettyjohn brings the ball up court, and she drives into just outside the free throw lane, and her shot is no good. Rebounded by Sterling, but a foul has been called on Ruppel. That is her second of the game. So that'll be 3 team fouls for Fort Morgan now. So Sterling to inbounds the ball. Pressure by Fort Morgan, but Sterling throws it away in the back court. Now Allie Schneider lines up for a 3 from the corner, and that is way long. It was last touch by Sterling, so it'll be Fort Morgan ball with 13.3 seconds to go in the third period, 29-16 Sterling. So Sterling to get the ball inbounds, Fort Morgan. So Allie Schneider with it out on the wing, now out to Danielle Gross. Her shot is up and good for a 2. That is the end of the third period, 29-18 Sterling. You're listening to Fort Morgan Mustangs basketball on B106 and B106.com. Back at Fort Morgan High School, Sterling ball, and they immediately throw it out of bounds. Actually, it was kicked out of bounds by Tyler Chrisman. So the ball belongs to Fort Morgan. Now Sterling is going to put a press on. Allie Schneider gives the ball up to Alexis Bills. Now Alexis Bills, her pass underneath the basket was kicked out of bounds by Sterling. So Danielle Gross to inbounds the ball. She gets it in to Alexis Bills. That shot is off the front of the rim, so rebound to Sterling. So Jenna Knutson bringing the ball up court. Now she passes it out to the left corner for a 3. And that was no good by Kelsey Schaefer. Rebounded by Allie Schneider. Schneider out to Danielle Gross. Now Gross back to Schneider. Schneider brings her past half court. She picks up her dribble. Back to Gross. Over to Lauren Staley on the right wing. Now back out to Gross. Over to Schneider at the 3-point circle. Her pass across to Alexis Bills. Bills into the... Her shot is up and no good. And out of bounds to Fort Morgan. A shot up by Allie Schneider. She was bumped and no foul was called. So now for Fort Morgan, Sierra Rupel will take a seat, and Celia Smits is in the game for Fort Morgan. So Sterling with the ball going up court to Jenna Knutson, being guarded closely by Lauren Staley. Now the ball underneath, and that shot was no good by Chrisman, but rebounded to Sterling. And then Jenna Knutson up for a layup, but her arm was hit by Staley. So that is Lauren Staley's third shot. So Jenna Knutson to the line for 2 shots, and her first shot is up and good. So now Fort Morgan with a substitution. Samantha Pettyjohn in, and Alexis Bills comes out. So 30-18, Sterling with 6:38 to go in the game. Jenna Knutson sinks the second one. So 31-18, Alexis Bills goes over to Samantha Pettyjohn. Back out to Allie Schneider. Allie Schneider drives the lane, and a blocking foul is going to be called on Sterling on number 32, Kelsey Schaefer. So that is her second one. That is 6 team fouls now for Sterling, 4 for Fort Morgan. Samantha Pettyjohn inbounds the ball for Fort Morgan. She gets it in to Lauren Staley. Staley is pinned in the corner. Now back out to Danielle Gross. Her shot up is no good, but it was off of Samantha Pettyjohn, so the ball goes over to Sterling for another turnover. So Sterling gets the ball in. Samantha Pettyjohn with some full court pressure. Knutson carries the ball on her hip, and no foul and no turnover is called. Now Sterling up with a shot, but she is fouled by Danielle Gross. So that is Gross's third foul of the game, with Tyler Chrisman going to the line for 2, and her first one is up and good. So shot number 2 coming for Chrisman. Chrisman's shot is up, and that one is also good. 33-18, Sterling. 6 minutes to go in the contest. Gross out to Allie Schneider in the front court. Over to Samantha Pettyjohn. Pettyjohn to Celia Smits. Now there's going to be a reach-in foul on Sterling. Now they'll go against Knutson. That is her third. So that should be 7 team fouls on Sterling, so that'll be a 1-and-1. For Fort Morgan, for Pettyjohn. So her first shot up and off the front of the rim and no good. Sterling with the rebound. Now they're going to call a foul on, no, they're going to call Sterling out of bounds. So a turnover for Sterling. Fort Morgan with the ball with 5:45 to go in the game. Now we have a timeout called by Sterling. So we have a full timeout here at the game. So you're listening to Fort Morgan Mustangs basketball on B106 and B106.com. 33-18 Sterling here at Fort Morgan High School. Fort Morgan 2 inbounds the ball. Danielle Gross has the ball. She dribbles over to the right side, picks up her dribble. Now back out to Alexis Bills. Bills back to Gross, out to Allie Schneider. And Allie Schneider's pass is tipped and goes to Alexis Bills. Alexis Bills to Pettyjohn. Pettyjohn's shot is up and no good. And it's going to be a ball out of bounds to Sterling, tipped out by Fort Morgan. So Sterling with the ball with 5:19 to go in the third period. Knutson gives the ball up, and now she gets it back and drives down the left side into Alex Masters, and she was fouled by Danielle Gross, and that is her fourth foul. We have 4 on Gross, 3 on Schneider, 3 on Staley, 2 on Ruppel, and 1 on Pettyjohn for Fort Morgan. So Celia Smits into the game for Danielle Gross. 16 fouls on Fort Morgan, so no shooting shots, free throws for Sterling at this time. So Knutson to Chrisman. Chrisman to Maggie Adney. Back to Kelsey Schaefer. Schaefer holds it out top. Now to Chrisman. Chrisman to Adney. Adney to Chrisman. Her pass is underneath, and she's going to be tied up by Alexis Bills, so it'll be a turnover by Sterling. Fort Morgan ball, 33-18 in favor of the Tigers. Fort Morgan getting the ball up court. Alexis Bills off to Allie Schneider. Schneider lines up for a 3, and that is good for Allie Schneider. So Schneider with 6 points in the game, 33-21. So now Knutson with the ball, and she passed it off to Adney. Then underneath to Alex Masters for a little 2-point shot there. The ball is tipped away from Allie Schneider. So the ball over to Sterling now. Kelsey Schaefer out to Knutson. Knutson keeping her dribble alive. I know they're going to call a foul on 12, but she was actually pushed by a Sterling player, but they're not going to call it that way. So that's Pettyjohn's second foul. Pettyjohn was run into by Alex Masters and not called. So now we have a timeout by Fort Morgan. Another timeout for Fort Morgan. 35-21 with 3:49 to go in the game. You're listening to Fort Morgan Mustangs basketball on B106 and B106.com. Back at Fort Morgan High School, Brian Nickel set to get the action going here again in the fourth period, 35-21. Sterling at the free throw line. Knutson, her first shot on the 1-and-1 is up and good. So that is 3 points in this period for Knutson, three free throws for her. So she'll get a second shot here, and that one is off the rim and no good. Rebounded to Sterling. Yep, they're going to call a jump ball. So the possession arrow does go to Sterling. So we have a substitution for Sterling. Marin Patton in for Kelsey Schaefer, I believe. So Tyler Chrisman to inbounds the ball for Sterling. Looking now, a deep pass just out to the 3-point line. Now Patton over to Knutson. Knutson back over to Adney. Now we have a steal. Allie Schneider steals the ball. And she is called for a travel. So the ball back to Sterling on another turnover by Fort Morgan. So Sterling with the ball up in the front court. Jenna Knutson. Adney in the corner, back to Knutson out at the right wing. Now back over to Patton on the left wing. Back out to Adney. Now we have a foul called on Sterling. On number 2, I believe, on Patton, so that is her second. Since that's an offensive foul, that is not a team foul, so they will not shoot. So Fort Morgan to inbounds the ball Schneider has it in the back court, bringing it up court. And now back out to Alexis Bills. And then it was thrown away by Celia Smits right to the Sterling Tigers. So 3 minutes to go in the fourth period, 36-21 Sterling. Underneath to Alex Masters. Her shot is up and no good. Now they have a jump ball. Allie Schneider on the floor to get that tie up. And that ball should go to Fort Morgan. So now Lauren Staley, or Celia Smits is out. And Danielle Gross is back into the game for Fort Morgan. So 36-21 with 2:52 to go in the game. Samantha Pettyjohn in the backcourt picks up her dribble. Now she gets it off to Alexis Bills. Bills to Allie Schneider. Schneider with a little jumper off the rim. Now we'll have a foul called on Lauren Staley. So that'll be her fourth. So now Sterling to the line for a 1-and-1. Hometown Auto and Hardware, Brush's local Napa and Hardware Hanks and small engine repair shop. Stop by and let them help you today. 1305 Edison. Brush Grocery Cart. Stop, shop, and save with all your grocery needs and snacks for game time enjoyment. 1302 West Edison Street in Brush. So the first shot by Adney is good. So that is her first point of the game. 37-21 Sterling. Second shot is up and off the rim and no good. Rebounded to Fort Morgan, out to Allie Schneider. Schneider bringing it up the right court. Now she passes it off to Alexis Bills, and her shot is no good off the backboard. Rebounded to Sterling. So 2:20 to go in the game, 37-21 Sterling. So Jenna Knutson dribbling it out front, slowing it down a little bit. Now off to Chrisman, and her shot is up and banked in for a 2 for Tyler Chrisman. So that is her fourth point in the fourth period. Now Allie Schneider bringing the ball up court, and Sterling would be called for the blocking foul, and that will go against Maggie Adney. That is only her second. But Fort Morgan will go to the line. Allie Schneider will be shooting a 1-and-1, I believe. 9 team fouls on Sterling, 8 on Fort Morgan. So Schneider to the line for the 1-and-1. And that shot is up and no good. Rebounded by Sterling. So 39-21 with a minute 50 to go in the game. Sterling has a shot up and no good by Kendall Meyer. And then the ball was tipped out of bounds by Fort Morgan. So Sterling ball on the side in front of their bench. Now we have a timeout by Fort Morgan. So we'll take another timeout along with him. 39-21 Sterling. You're listening to Fort Morgan Mustangs basketball on B106 and B106.com. Back at Fort Morgan High School, 39-21 Sterling. Sterling ball on the side in front of their bench, trying to get the ball in, and they do, to Knutson. Knutson to Chrisman. Chrisman back to Knutson. Knutson holds it out top. Now she starts to dribble. Backs out, about 25 feet out from the basket. Now she passes it off back to Chrisman. Chrisman off to Patton. Patton down along the line, and then a shot up by Tyler Chrisman, and she is fouled on the shot. And that is going to go against Allie Schneider. So that is her fourth. So Chrisman to the line to shoot 2. Her first shot is up and good. So 9 team fouls apiece for each team. Second shot by Chrisman is up and also good. So that makes it 41-21. Sterling with 1:15 to go in the game. Now Danielle Gross to Allie Schneider. Schneider to Alexis Bills. Back out to Schneider. Over to Danielle Gross out on the right wing. That ball is tipped. Allie Schneider saves it to the front court. Then a shot by Alexis Bills, a three from the corner. And that is good for Alexis Bills. So that is the 30-second timeout now called by Fort Morgan. Northern Colorado Title. You don't have to close on your house alone. Northern Colorado Title at 130 West Kiowa in Fort Morgan will provide you with a stress-free closing. Bijou T-Quest, letter jackets, t-shirts, and more. Stop by 302 Main Street in Fort Morgan for all your sports apparel. Equitable Savings and Loan, Northeast Colorado's locally owned hometown savings and loan in Fort Morgan and Brush. Premier Farm Credit, committed to serving those in production ag. Premier Farm Credit, the gold standard in ag lending. So 52.4 seconds to go in the game. 41-24 after a three-point shot by Fort Morgan. So Sterling with the ball in the back court. Stolen by Allie Schneider. And then the shot is up and good by Alexis Bills for a two. So Sterling trying to get the ball up court. Now it's going to be a foul on Allie Schneider, and that will be her fifth. So she will have fouled out of the game with 35.7 seconds, and now she just got a technical called on her for, I don't know, actions plus something she must have said. So now it'll be a technical foul will be shot by Sterling. Two shots for Kelsey Schaefer. So she'll be shooting the technical, I believe. Fort Morgan does have the 10th team foul. So they'll be shooting, I believe, the personal foul first. That will be Kelsey Schaefer. Her first shot is up and no good. So she will get a second shot here. 35.7 seconds to go in the game. The second shot is up and good for Schaefer. And now she will shoot two shots now for the technical that was called on Allie Schneider. So 42-26. First free throw is up and bounces off the top and goes in. That is good. Then the second one is up, and it is also good. So that makes it 44-26 for Sterling. Now Sterling calls a timeout, a full timeout. So we'll take one with him. 44-26 Sterling with 35.7 seconds to go on B106 and B106.com. 44-26 with 30 seconds to go in the game. Fort Morgan with wholesale changes here. And now a foul has been called on Fort Morgan on Samantha Scott. So that will be Scott's first. So Marin Patton to the line for two for Sterling. Her first shot is up and good. That's her first point of the game for Sterling. 45-26. Second shot is up and also good. So 46, 26, 24 seconds to go in the period. Fort Morgan ball on the side, brought in by Aurora Baca. She is into the game. Samantha Scott, Kinsey Winsheimer, Christina Frick also in the game. So Fort Morgan just passed the ball around and then just threw it out of bounds. So with 11.4 seconds to go in the game, it will belong to Sterling, 46-26. So the ball in, and Christina Frick ties up the ball with Sterling, but the arrow still points to Sterling. So with 10.2 seconds to go, Sterling will inbound the ball. And they get it in to Marin Patton. Patton taking it up with 3 seconds to go and counting. And that is the end of the game. 46-26 Sterling. We'll take a 3-minute break and then be back to Fort Morgan High School. You're listening to Fort Morgan Mustangs basketball on B106 and B106.com. Back at Fort Morgan High School, I'm Brian Nickel with my statistician next to me, Eric Nickel. So we'll run over the scoring for you. At the end of the first quarter, it was 13-6 Sterling. At the half, it was 20-10 Sterling. At the end of the third quarter, 29-18. And the final score for Sterling was 46-26. The scoring for Sterling was led by Tyler Chrisman with 12. And then Kelsey Schaefer with 9. Or excuse me, we're going to go with Alex Masters with 11. And then Schaefer with 9. Knutson with 5. Chrisman with 4. Patton with 2. Adney with 1. And Meyer also with 2. And for Fort Morgan, the leading scorer was Alexis Bills with 14, followed by Allie Schneider with 5, Lauren Staley with 2, Samantha Pettyjohn with 2, and Samantha Gross with 2. Allie Schneider did foul out of the game right towards the end of the contest. I believe that if I have my free throws right, Sterling was 20 of 25 from the free throw line. Fort Morgan in the second half had a pair of, in the fourth quarter, went to the line twice for 1-and-1s, missed both ends of the 1-and-1. So they were only 2 of 6 in the second half. 4 free throws for Fort Morgan. So Sterling got to the line a lot more than what Fort Morgan did. So that's ended up with a 46-26 final. And as far as turnovers, Fort Morgan, we have unofficially, has 31 turnovers, and Sterling had 19. As far as rebounds, unofficially, we had 24 rebounds apiece for each team. So they kept up with them good on the rebounds, but turned the ball over way too much to try to stay in the game with 31 turnovers. I'm sure Coach Krackemeyer is not going to be pleased with that statistic whatsoever. So they'll have to try and get that straightened out, as they will take on the Brush Beat Diggers on Friday night. And that will be the next game for Fort Morgan. For the girls at 5:30 on Friday, the boys at 7. And that will be right here on B106 and B106.com. John Beltran with the call Friday night. So a game dominated mostly by Sterling. Got to the free throw line a lot. They were 13 of 15 just in the second half. So they scored a lot from there. So as I said, the next game will be Friday night here at Fort Morgan against Brush. And this Mustang postgame show was brought to you by High Plains Bank & Wiggins. The friendly staff at High Plains Bank & Wiggins is ready to assist you with a home loan equity line of credit, commercial loan, or checking account. To receive hometown service on a higher plane, visit High Plains Bank today. So our sound engineer and producer for tonight's game has been Braden Godin. Does a good job as always. The final score again, Sterling 46, Fort Morgan 26. Next game will be Friday night, 5:30 for the girls, 7 o'clock for the boys here on B106 and B106.com. I'd like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. So for Eric Nickel, this is Brian Nickel. You've been listening to Fort Morgan Mustangs basketball on B106 and B106.com.